What's going on, guys? It's Fight Season MMA, and today I want to do a video breaking down how I believe Israel Adesanya can go in there and beat Dricus du Plessis. Now, don't fret, I'm going to be doing a video like this for Dricus du Plessis tomorrow, but I wanted to start with Israel Adesanya because I think that Izzy is going to have a harder time with this fight than Dricus is. I think that there's more ways I believe that Dricus can beat Israel Adesanya rather than the other way around. But I do think that Israel Adesanya has a good chance of winning this fight. I think that this is one of the closest fights of the year, right behind Holloway and Topuria, because that is a really big crapshoot in that fight. But I do think I see either Dricus or Israel Adesanya winning this fight, and I do think that it's going to be very hard to pick the winner of that main event at UFC 305, but I want to lay out a couple reasons why I think, and a couple reasons that I believe that Israel Adesanya has a chance to beat Dricus du Plessis. If you guys enjoy the UFC content, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and please go down there and hit that post notifications bell so you guys are always notified when YouTube content releases. Also, help me reach 1,000 subscribers. That would be absolutely amazing. Subscribing is free, and I know 97.2% of my viewers who watch the videos are not subscribed, so please go down there and hit that subscribe button. But let's jump right into the reasons of how I believe Israel Adesanya can go in there and beat Dricus du Plessis to recapture the middleweight title at the UFC 305 main event. Okay, so I just want to break down a couple ways that Israel Adesanya can go in there and beat Dricus du Plessis at UFC 305 in the main event. And I do think that that's going to actually be a very hard fight for Israel Adesanya to win because of how well-rounded Dricus du Plessis is. But there's also going to be some aspects that make it hard for Dricus to win too. The first thing that Israel Adesanya has got to do, and he's got to avoid the takedown and stay on the feet for as long as possible. We all know that Dricus du Plessis is not the greatest striker, but he's super good at making adjustments. And that Sean Strickland fight, he was getting pieced up in the first round, and we all know that Sean Strickland doesn't put a lot of heat on his shots, but he does throw a lot of output and volume, and that's what Dricus du Plessis was really getting, accustomed to, was taking the output and the volume rather than taking a takedown and switching up the pace. And in that second round, immediately he went for that takedown, which really saved him the fight, being able to take Strickland down at will. Now, he really couldn't hold him down, but the thing is that the longer that Israel Adesanya is on the ground, the less time that he's on the feet trying to get a knockout. And I think that that's going to be the way that Israel Adesanya gets the win against Dricus du Plessis. It's got to stay on the feet. The next thing is that you got to contain the blitz of Dricus du Plessis. The only thing that Dricus really has on the feet is that kind of Robert Whittaker-esque blitz, but it's not as clean and polished as Whittaker, although I do think it's a little bit stronger than Whittaker. He kind of throws some punches in very odd fashion running in there versus like Sean Strickland and Robert Whittaker. He kind of did that same thing, but I do think that Israel Adesanya being able to stop the blitz is going to be something that really aids Izzy in getting this win very, very soon, or very, very quickly at UFC 305, because I think the blitz is going to be Dricus's best weapon in this fight to really be able to not only have a chance on the feet, but also have a chance to get the takedowns eventually, because I think stopping the blitz is going to make the takedowns a lot harder for Dricus du Plessis to really be able to get and take him down to the ground. And I do think that Dricus is going to get a couple takedowns, but it's going to be the inevitable of just, getting down there and understanding to not panic and understand that Izzy can get up on the feet, because I don't think Dricus's top control is as great as someone in the division like a Marvin Vettori or possibly maybe even a Robert Whittaker. I really don't know compared to that, but I do think it's not as good as a Marvin Vettori in that division or a Brendan Allen. But Dricus du Plessis has an amazing blitz, which really can allow fighters to be misunderstood of, is it going to be a blitz or is it going to be a shot for the takedown? And I think if that Israel Adesanya can fire knees up the middle, and if he can stop the blitzes from happening and counter them immediately by moving off the center line and kind of watching the trap from Dricus du Plessis in the cage, I think it's going to really aid him in that fight. And lastly, I think Israel Adesanya has to go for the power punches in this fight, and he's got to take his time when he's going into swinging with Dricus du Plessis. I think that Dricus's chin is actually pretty good in the UFC organization. He almost made my top 10 best chins in the UFC. If you haven't checked out that video, it's a couple days ago or maybe a week ago. Go check out that video. I did the top 10 rankings on the best chins inside the UFC organization. But Dricus just missed the cut on that list, but he was definitely considered. So I think that Israel Adesanya is going to have to hit him with more like a combination of strikes rather than a one-punch knockout. You look at the Alex Pereira knockout, and he really hit Alex with one shot that sent him spiraling. But that's also when Alex Pereira was cutting so much weight down to middleweight that his chin was incredibly deteriorated from making that weight cut, which was absolutely brutal on his body. But I think Israel Adesanya has amazing sniping ability. He's one of the best snipers in the UFC. Even though he lost to Sean Strickland in his last fight, he is one of the best snipers, if not the best sniper in the UFC organization right now. He's up there with Sean O'Malley and Alex Pereira as the best, just absolute snipers in the organization. But I do think that Izzy's going to have to use his length. He's going to have a reach advantage. He's going to have a height advantage. And I know it's not as apparent as everyone thought, but it's still an advantage inside the octagon. And I think that Israel Adesanya is going to have to use his movement and use that kickboxing style that he has to truly go in there and fully be able to embrace, the stand-up with Dricus du Plessis and keep it out there as much as possible. The last thing that I think would be incredibly beneficial for Israel Adesanya would be to kind of be able to transfer and practice on rolling into mount from being on the back and throwing up something like an arm triangle from the bottom and doing it an inverted arm triangle from the bottom. I think that that's going to be something that really allows Dricus du Plessis to not put as much pressure on Israel Adesanya. If Izzy can throw up submission threats from the bottom, I think that's going to be something that really helps aid in revealing or relieving the pressure off the bottom from Dricus du Plessis, because we all know Dricus fights with a lot of pressure. He fights with a lot of energy, and he fights with a lot of momentum, and that's going to be something that Israel Adesanya is going to have to go out there and halt pretty fast in this fight. He can definitely catch Dricus du Plessis with a punch, but it's going to be the follow-up in different punches. I think Dricus has a great chin, and I think going in there versus someone like Israel Adesanya is going to be one of the more favorable matchups for Izzy, or one of the more favorable matchups from Dricus, because his defense is good, but if worst case scenario, if a shot gets through, he can take it on his chin and truly be able to absorb the shot and the power. But that's ultimately why I believe that Israel Adesanya can win this fight against Dricus du Plessis. He's just got to stick to the four things that I kind of talked about. Mainly, he's got to keep the fight on the feet. Dricus is not going to lose a grappling battle with Israel Adesanya, and that is facts, and there's no way that you can do that. So if Israel Adesanya keeps it on the feet, and he keeps moving off the headline and watching for the trap from Dricus du Plessis, I think that's going to be something that really, really helps. I mean, he's got to do the leg kicks too, because I know Sean Strickland really doesn't throw leg kicks like that. He kind of does so often, whatever, but he's got to throw the leg kicks to really immobilize Dricus du Plessis, as well as an addition to everything that I've said before, because if he can immobilize kind of the push off and the power right from the source, I think that's going to be a very key thing for Israel Adesanya to be able to win this fight against Dricus du Plessis in the main event of UFC 305. But like I said, I think that this is an absolute toss-up of a battle between Dricus and Israel Adesanya. And truly, I really believe that Israel Adesanya, if he stays and adheres to these couple things that I said, has a very good chance of beating Dricus du Plessis in this fight in the main event at UFC 305. Thank you guys so much for watching this episode of Fight Season MMA and my ways that Israel Adesanya can beat Dricus du Plessis in the main event at the UFC 305 card in Perth, Australia. Do not fret, a video on the same topic for Dricus du Plessis will be coming out tomorrow, and I will lay out and break down the different ways that I believe Dricus du Plessis can beat Israel Adesanya in the main event at UFC 305. I wanted to make a video talking about each one of these fighters just because I think that this fight is super close between the two, and each one has a very different style, and each one is going to have to exploit holes of the other in order to win this fight. This is a very competitive fight, and the fight that we've been wanting to see in the UFC organization for some time. Thank you guys so much for watching this episode of Fight Season MMA. It is so amazing to see all the support and support I'm getting on all these videos. So please go down there, and if you haven't smashed the subscribe button, keep smashing it and help me reach 1,000 subscribers. That would be absolutely amazing. And while you're down there, leave a like and turn on the post notification just so you guys are always notified when I release UFC content and news. But thank you guys so much, and I will catch you guys very, very soon with more UFC content and news.